Justinas, it's great to have you here with us at Baltic Fintech Days.
Chris, pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure meeting you. So, for those that have not had the pleasure of meeting you, tell us briefly who you are and what you do.
So, I'm Justinas, one of the co-founders of TransferGo. Currently serve as a managing director for TransferGo for Business.
Okay.
And TransferGo is a digital remittance platform. We serve businesses and consumers globally.
Right. Okay. So, help me understand what was the original value proposition of TransferGo?
Yeah. So I think all business starts with problems, right? And I was a migrant myself. I've studied in the UK, and the main problem was to move money back home and to get support from the parents. So it was high fees, difficult to use platforms. So I think what we tried to solve is to make international money movement as easy as possible and as low cost as possible.
Right, and that's one of the things that I've always been very impressed about TransferGo, that you managed to really slash the costs of moving money abroad, especially for remittances. How did that happen? How did you come about doing that?
Yeah, so I think on a high level it's very easy. We call it local in, local out. So it means we try to embed our solution into local financial ecosystem to make sure that we get payments from customers as cost effective as possible, and when we push payments to recipients in foreign markets, again through local partnerships. So it's local in, local out. There is a lot of complexity behind it, but it makes it creates the value to the end consumers.
Right. Okay. So you've done it extremely well in the P2P market. But you mentioned that you are now managing director of TransferGo Business,
yes,
which tells me that TransferGo is looking for new problems to solve.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about that.
So I think for us, expansion into the business came very natural. So first of all, I mentioned that we had experience as a migrants, as a students, but one of the pain points back in the day which led to the TransferGo idea was also we've been running a merchandise business on campus, and we've been engaging into import and export, right? So we faced those challenges as a small, more micro business, let's call it. So it was it was in our culture as a business, like to businesses, but at the same time, what we see that it's a pull request. It's our existing clients asking for the opportunities to use TransferGo for their own business needs. So it's the same migrants, same business, same clients. They struggle with the business banking. And a lot of them, to be honest, are underserved by traditional financial players because they are too small, they're not necessarily bringing a lot of revenue to banks. And again, I think where we are uniquely positioned is to, again, enable them to use the same low-cost infrastructure, give them speed, access to emerging markets, access to global markets. So I think it's primarily we solving client problems which we ask us to solve.
Right. Okay. So that's very interesting. You're basically leveraging the same capability that you've developed to solve similar problems in different sectors.
Exactly. So I think that's we try to leverage our strength, our existing infrastructure, our rails. What we add on top, which business, of course, like businesses, we need additional functionalities. I think one of the key value propositions and features which we ask is a local IBANs. So again, we launched actually on the 1st of April, we launched local IBANs for euros and pounds, which means that those businesses, irrespective of where exactly they incorporated, they can have a local access to British pounds, to euros, and we will be adding more currencies. But I think, again, the problem in this aspect is that if you're a business and you're operating globally, to have local bank accounts globally is very difficult.
Yeah.
Traditional banks takes, months, if not years, sometimes to open a local bank account if you're not incorporated in that specific country.
Right. Okay. Now you're based you're headquartered in Lithuania, but you operate globally. Tell me why the Baltics is an attractive market for you to base your operations, but also to serve customers.
Yeah, so I think what we saw in the Baltics over the last 10 years, it's quite an interesting shift. When we started, like in 2014, if we take all the money flow related to the Baltics, we had 88% it was incoming remittances into the Baltics, and only 12% were, at least in our data, only 12% of customers were sending from the Baltics.
Okay.
What we see today, and that's 2014, even early 2015 data, it's getting to what we call 50-50. Now around 52% are incoming into the Baltics, and 48 are outgoing of the Baltics. So again, we're not necessarily representing the whole economy, but it still, at least for us, shows a big shift. I think overall, I think what we also see in the Baltics that remittances as a percentage of GDP over the last decade has decreased from 4% to 1%. So that again indicates a much stronger economy in the Baltics in general, but at the same time shows the changes in migration patterns. So what we see and feel, a lot of people coming back to the Baltics, the migrants who've been in the UK, in Scandinavia, globally, right? We're coming back, we're bringing the know-how, we're building in the Baltics, and on the other hand, we see a lot of young people coming into the Baltics from emerging markets. So I think it's a big opportunity, and I think it's an exciting shift in the market.
Indeed, it's super interesting, and we see this pattern as well. I mean, we're here in the Baltic Fintech Days. The place is buzzing. There's almost 1,000 people here at the City Hall in Vilnius. Can you share maybe what's been your takeaway so far from the event?
It's a bit overwhelming, to be honest. That's my takeaway. It's so much action happening, and you would love to be in every single keynote, in every single meeting, but you can't do it, right? So I think that's my takeaway. It's a lot.
Great. Well, Justinas, thank you so much for stepping here in our studio, and it's great having you with us.
Chris, thank you. Pleasure.